Yes, sir. Introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, my name is Iqbal Merchant. I'm a resident of this city for the last 17 years. I wanted to thank the council for taking my recommendation into consideration and waiving the 2 feet above the ground requirement for keeping fowls, and also for waiving the requirement that the droppings of the fowl have to be picked up every day. I have one question I would like to address directly to the council. Which is the official ordinance? I was given 2 copies today, so I need for you to point out which is the official. That's the official ordinance? Because see, in this one that I was given, you're like still keeping that 2-acre area intact.
Sir, I'm going to ask that you get at the mic and pose your question from there.
See, in one of the ordinance copies that I was given today at the city council office, the 2-acre requirement for keeping any kind of bird is still intact. I don't have a 2-acre lot. So I need to know.
I believe that 2-acre requirement refers to livestock, not of which birds aren't included in the definition of livestock.
Yeah, see, that's just for livestock. That would not apply to birds at all.
Okay. I have been raising game fowl for the last 15 years within the city of Lafayette. I lived in an unincorporated area of Lafayette, which was annexed into the city in May of 1989. I had invited Councilman Elmo Laborde and the animal control officer to my place to see and witness for themselves how game fowls were raised. And there is no way anyone can raise game fowl in an enclosed facility from the time they are young till the time they mature. Now, I have always raised my game fowl within the confines of my own property. I have a fenced yard, and my birds never go into my neighbor's property, and I have been doing it for 15 years. And when they get matured, I pen them up. But I can't see how anybody can raise any game fowl in a totally confined cage 365 days of the year from the time they are born. I think the issue of game fowl has been commingled with commercial poultry. It's 2 different fowls. Commercial fowls, you can raise them within the confined area. There's no problem with that. Game fowl, you cannot. They have to be allowed to roam and range, and I would say within the confines of the owner's property. So I would like the council to consider that and allow, because I have been doing this for 15 years. I explained to Mr. Laborde that, by annexation, my property was grandfathered. So what will this new ordinance make me do? Start raising them in cages? They'll totally become of no consequence at all. I'll be defeating the whole purpose of my hobby. So I would like the council to consider that game fowl can be raised within the confines of the owner's property. Now, if they go onto the neighbor's property, sure, I'm in violation then, and I agree with it. But as long as they are within my own property, there is no way I can raise those, young birds within cages. It is like not allowing a little child to go to the playground.
Anything else?
I believe,
Mr. Board?
yes, I believe that we addressed that in the way that we define enclosure, and we need to make a technical amendment to the definition of enclosure. But
see, I'm referring to your section 640.
Right.
Where it says,
so long as you keep the fowl within an enclosure, and that enclosure prevents them from escaping.
well, the enclosure is the confine of my own yard that you saw when you
Exactly.
visited me. So
Exactly.
that's fine with me then? Okay.
Yes, sir. That would be fine. So we address that issue. So long as you keep them in your own yard, and there is a fence or some type of barrier which prevents them from leaving your property, then you would not be in violation of the ordinance.
I would also like to, request the council to really define cockfighting, because it is very loosely defined. Cockfighting, like I explained to you, Mr. Laborde, when you came in, people practice it in different forms, and I feel that what the ordinance is referring to is cockfighting as a blood sport. And I had also explained to the animal control officer when he came to my house that I'm from India, my birds are of an extinct variety. He had the first sight at them, he saw them. And that's not cockfighting, that is contact, just like boxing of two human beings or two kids playing kick karate or something with, muffed up hands, where there is no blood at all. And also, what about sparring the chickens, or what happens if two birds, in spite of our prevention, they come loose on their own and they fight? So I think this, even all those exceptions to, what is considered cockfighting should be addressed. I think Mr. Douillon explained that according to him, cockfighting is the act of putting artificial spurs or knives or gaps, tossing them into the pit, and then gambling. The way our sport was carried on in India, there was no gambling, and there was no blood, and there was no artificial weapons ever put on the bird's feet. In fact, the only natural weapon that the bird has was also sawed off and removed and covered with a soft tape, whereby there was never any problem. We had an exhibition done at the Hilton Hotel when the Louisiana Architectural Association was meeting for their annual convention, and there was a lot of lawmakers over there. The sheriff was there from Acadia and Lafayette Parish, and there was a lot of people in the audience, and they all said that, well, this is not cockfighting. Boxing is not cockfighting. And I explained that to Mr. Douillon, and he agreed with me, and I would like him to come forward and maybe express his views on that subject. Thank you so much.
Basically, what he was talking about, I sent to the council a copy of the ASIL Association bylaws, where it was no blood sport. It was strictly a sparring of the animals, and they were taped, and they were protected. They fought in a bout very much as a boxer would, and it was governed with no alcohol on the premises. There was also no drugs and no artificial spurs or anything along that line. And personally, by the definition that he showed me, I have no problems with it. My only problem with it is that it needs to be somehow or other maintained as that type of sport, that it doesn't get carried away and all of a sudden people start allowing gambling and allowing cursing, allowing alcohol and allowing drugs. And that's what I was telling him, is that if it can be maintained as a boxing sport where they can police it themselves, I have no problems with the boxing. I still oppose fighting, but I had no problems with the boxing.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions from the public?